Your 20s are probably the most important years of your life, I know it, and the decisions you make during this time can determine whether you hit your 30s, 40s, and 50s broke or with a lot of cash in your pocket. And the key to whether you get rich or not is mainly where you spend your money. So in today's video, I've put together the 6 worst purchases to make before 30 that can seriously damage your finances if you're not careful. And before you start commenting, a quick disclaimer: there are some things on this list that you should never, ever spend money on, no matter how much money you have. And yet, thousands of people, even those who are broke, end up spending on them. But there are also things on this list that, if you're really rich, then go ahead, spend your money and be happy. But for the majority of people, it's better to avoid these 6 things that I'm about to show you. And before anything else, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Let's dive in. The first thing you shouldn't buy before you are 30 is cheap and low quality clothes. You know, when you're just starting out in life, you start working, money's tight, and you want to save as much as possible each month. What do you do then? You go for the cheap stuff and buy low quality clothes, for example. The problem is you pay little, you wear that black shirt once, wash it, and it fades after the first wash. So you need to buy another one. Then you buy another cheap shirt, wear it once, and it fades again. It's the classic saying, you get what you pay for. What you need to understand is that there's a relationship between price and cost per use. If you buy a shirt for $50 and wear it for 6 months, it's more expensive than buying a shirt for $200 and wearing it for 3 years. Per month, the $50 shirt costs you $8.33, and per month, the $200 shirt costs you $5.55. I'm giving the example of clothes, but this applies to almost everything. If you buy a car and decide to go cheaper with a more used car, there's a higher risk of it breaking down. If you buy cheaper sneakers, there's a risk of the sole coming off in the middle of the street. If you skimp on health insurance, there's a risk of someone in your family getting sick, and you end up spending a lot on medical bills. I know there are people who don't have the money and unfortunately only have this option, but this logic applies to those who have a bit more spending power and still try to save on dumb expenses. Saving on dumb expenses is dumb, folks. The second worst purchase to make before 30 is gourmet coffee. Why gourmet coffee? Because good taste doesn't go backward. It really doesn't. If you drink a good wine, you don't want to go back to drinking bad wine. Flew first class? You're screwed. You won't want to go back to flying economy. Bought an automatic car? You won't want to go back to driving a manual car. Had gourmet coffee? You won't want to go back to regular supermarket coffee. And here, you need to understand 2 things. First, this doesn't mean you should never have gourmet coffee or fly first class, but once you try it, it's hard to go back to what you had before. And second, if you control your spending and make good decisions with your money for a good part of your life, the gourmet coffee that you can only afford once a month now, you'll be able to have every day in the future. So be careful with what you experience and understand that sacrificing what you want today means having much more tomorrow. That's the logic. The third worst purchase on our list is luxury cars. Earlier this year, I took a trip to the US and I had the opportunity to drive a Lamborghini. And you become the center of attention driving a Lamborghini. People pass by filming, everyone compliments and waves, but honestly, they're not talking about you. They're talking about the car. So when you see someone driving a nice car, you don't think, wow, the person driving that car is amazing. Instead, you'll think, wow, if I had that car, people would think I am amazing. Whether consciously or not, that's how people think. In other words, you buy a fancy car to be admired by others, but since they also want to be admired, they only pay attention to the car. You might think you want a luxury car or an expensive watch, but that's not what you want. What you want is the respect and admiration that these things might bring you, but rarely do, especially from the people you want to respect and admire you. That's the third worst purchase on our list. The fourth worst purchase is a brand new car. This one is quite controversial. And as controversial as it may be, the truth is that when you work and earn money, you can only do three things with it. You can use your money to buy expenses, you can use that money to buy liabilities, or you can use that money to buy assets. Now, why can buying a car be one of the worst financial decisions for those between 20 and 30? Because contrary to what most people think, a car is a liability, not an asset. Unless you're using the car to make money, the truth is that instead of putting money in your pocket, the car takes money out of it, making it a liability. For example, you buy a brand new car and as soon as it leaves the dealership, it loses 10% of its value. Besides losing value, there are several costs involved. Since it's a new car, it needs insurance, so you pay for insurance. Then once a year, you need to pay the vehicle tax, which is 4% of the car's value. Then there's gas, tolls, fines, tire changes, oil changes, and car washes. Over time, you might want to upgrade the car's interior, so the car gradually steals all your wealth. And what most people think is an investment is actually a liability that just depreciates over time. And the worst case scenario is buying a brand new car because besides paying more and experiencing depreciation as soon as it leaves the dealership, there are plenty of 3 to 4 year old cars out there that are in great condition. That's why the fourth worst purchase to make before 30 is a brand new car. And again, if you have the money and want a brand new car or any other type of car as a leisure expense, I don't see a problem. The problem is when you go into debt to buy a car and think you are making an investment. That doesn't make any sense. The fifth worst purchase on our list is buying something you don't understand. Everyone has that friend who says, oh, buy this stock or forget about bonds, invest in this real estate fund because it's paying a lot of dividends. And that's why Warren Buffett said one of the wisest things in the world. He said, never invest in a business you don't understand. And do you know why that's so powerful? Because whether you like it or not, your stocks will fall. But they can fall in two ways. They can fall and you know what's happening, or they can also fall and you don't know what's happening. If you know what's happening, you stay calm. But if you don't know what's happening because you invested in the company without understanding it, you end up selling everything in a panic and making a terrible deal. A practical example to help you understand is in 2022, because Netflix stock dropped by over 70% from its peak after the company reported a loss of subscribers for the first time in over a decade. Many investors panicked and sold their shares, believing the company was doomed. However, those who truly understood Netflix's business model knew the company was experimenting with new revenue streams such as ad-supported subscription tiers and was still a leader in the streaming industry. These investors stayed calm, recognizing that the decline was likely temporary and tied to broader market conditions. By 2023, Netflix stock had rebounded significantly as the company stabilized its subscriber base and revenue streams. Investors who sold during the panic missed out on the recovery, while those who held on, understanding the business, profited from their patience. This is why understanding what you invest in is crucial. It keeps you from making emotional decisions during volatile times. Now, let's move on to the last worst purchase on our list. The sixth worst purchase to make before 30, and this one is extremely controversial, is spending money on OnlyFans. Yes, you heard that right. Spending on OnlyFans doesn't just fail to add value to your life, it actively detracts from it. In financial terms, it's one of the most nonsensical decisions you can make. And here's why. A 2021 survey revealed that nearly 30% of young people between 18 and 24 have spent money on OnlyFans. Think about that for a second. If you gather 10 young adults in a room, 3 of them are spending their hard-earned money on something that provides no tangible return on investment. And here's the kicker. Many of these people aren't even in stable financial situations. They're spending on OnlyFans while juggling credit card debt, personal loans, or struggling to save for emergencies or long-term goals. It's a financial black hole. Let's break it down further. there's no real-world benefits. You're essentially paying for a fleeting digital illusion that offers no lasting value. You don't walk away with skills, assets, or even memorable experiences. Just a lighter wallet. There's missed opportunities. Every dollar spent on OnlyFans is a dollar that could have gone into a book, a course, a business idea, or even a fun experience with friends that creates lasting memories. And also a psychological cost. Studies have shown that spending on platforms like OnlyFans can lead to regret, guilt, and even addictive spending habits, digging you deeper into financial and emotional hole. And let's talk about the numbers. Say someone spends just $30 a month on OnlyFans. Over 5 years, that's 1.8K. If instead they invested that money in an S&P 500 index fund with an average annual return of 10%, they would have over 2.3K by the end of the period. That's a trip abroad, a head start on emergency fund, or a contribution to a first home, all sacrificed for temporary gratification. And look, I get it, this is a controversial take and people have their own opinions, but from a financial perspective, it just doesn't make sense. In our universe, under any logical calculation, does this kind of spending contribute to your personal growth, financial stability, or future success? So before you hit subscribe, think hard about what that money could do for your life, because chances are it's worth a lot more elsewhere. And there you have it, folks, the 6 worst purchases to make before 30 that can seriously hurt your financial future. So avoid these mistakes, make smarter decisions with your money, and you set yourself up for a prosperous future. Thanks for watching, and remember to like and subscribe for more valuable content. See you in the next video.